Hello, everybody. Happy June 16th, 2020. My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. And on today's show, we have a baseball player, formerly from Watertown High School and currently at Framingham. He plays for the Framingham State Rams. His name, Robert Johnson. Robert, it's a pleasure to be able to have you on.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
You know, I think before we get into your what was a very shortened freshman year, kind of just talk to me about your time with Watertown, because I know before we came on, you played for not one, not two, but four really good Watertown baseball teams during your time at the high school.
Yeah, my freshman year, I started off on the freshman team, and then after probably about 2-3 weeks, they had a bunch of injuries. Alex Burr broke his hand. Justin Guerrera had a finger problem. So I got called up. I didn't play much. I got into a lot of games late, but that team was really good. You know, we had Nick Mondak pitching and all that. So it was every game we felt like we were in. We had a good run in the state tournament, and then Nick got hurt. So, that kind of ended it quickly. Then my sophomore year, we were a really young team, and then we had a really good run in the state tournament, and then we went on to lose to Ferran, who was the 32nd seed that year. But that was a really good team too. And then my junior year, same thing, really good team. That team was really good. You had Justin Guerrera at short, and then Cam DeFeo at second. So up the middle, we were tough. Dom Rinaldi was pitching for us. He was really good. And then Stevie Phillips pitched for us too. So we had a good rotation. And then that year we came up short too. And then my senior year, we beat Ledyard in the second round. They were the 2 seed, and they were really good. We weren't supposed to win that game, but we beat them. We played really well that day. And then Rockville picked us off in the next round. But I have nothing but good things to say about Watertown. I love Coach Jerry. Jerry's my guy. Coach Graz is awesome. Coach Plord and Coach Ross, all those guys. They made baseball fun, and they helped me into the player I am today.
No, because I'm from Watertown, so I know a lot of the guys who either are coaches or just I know the culture of Watertown. And the one thing is that they love their football and they love their baseball as far as the boys aspect is concerned. The girls, fantastic in soccer. I know they've had good years in basketball and softball. They've done pretty well too. But the main sports for the boys are football and baseball. And for baseball in particular, it seems like every year they produce a Division I, Division II athlete. I know you mentioned Mondak, who I saw pitch for the Torrington Titans before he went to St. John's, and now he's put on weight. He's bigger. He's stronger. You mentioned about Guerrera, who I saw when I was the senior Legion pitching coach for the Naugatuck Greyhounds. There's a lot of talent for Watertown, man. And I guess the question I have for you is, did you ever kind of sit back and go, wow, I'm looking at a whole lot of talent around me?
Yeah, no, every year, I was talking about it with my dad the other day. It's funny. Every year you sit there and you're like, man, Jerry pumps these guys out every year. And you have Nick my freshman year. And then as I get older, Alex Burr went on to play Division III ball. And then Justin goes to Fairfield. And then Cam DeFeo went to AIC. And and then Stevie this year is going to Southern. So it's just, and then I think even Fenn is going to try to walk on at Albertus. So it's every year they pump out guys, and the NVL and Watertown too. They don't get enough credit for the baseball players they pump out. But yeah, every year I do sit back and I'm like, man, we had lots of talent came out of Watertown.
Oh, Fenn's going to Albertus?
I think so. I know he's playing soccer. I don't know if he's going to walk on and play baseball, but I think he was thinking about it.
I played there.
Yeah, I have a few guys at Albertus. Matt Warren from Wolcott. I know Matt. So
yeah, I heard he's going back because I talked to his mom because she works at the Planet Fitness up in Waterbury, and he's going to come back for a grad year because of the virus and not being able to play. The whole virus. Yeah. So it's good for him because he had a fantastic career with Albertus. If he just said, okay, I'm done. But he wants to come back and play one more
year. He's got great numbers. I saw him the other day. I was like, oh, my goodness.
I know. They're like video game numbers. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they really are. They really are.
And then Phillips, if I remember right, didn't he throw the no-hitter against Torrington?
Yes, as a freshman, the no-hitter. That was nuts. That was a good game. He pitched real well.
That thing was in the paper, everywhere. It was in the Watertown paper. It was in the Republican American. It was everywhere.
It was a great game. He pitched good. He struck out 15 guys, I think. It was insane.
And best part is he's left-handed.
Yeah, he's very good. I have nothing but praise for Stevie. Very good pitcher.
I'm biased because I'm left-handed, so I love that.
Yeah.
So now, you go into the college atmosphere. You're at Framingham. Just kind of tell me about what was your first. I guess the fall is probably a better question. Then we'll get into the spring. What was
Yeah.
the fall like for you? Was there any adjustments to the culture or mentally,
Um,
physically?
Culture wise, the culture was just different just because like, there's more emphasis on going to the gym and lifting and then
Hmm.
getting your extra work and all that. But my mentality didn't change because throughout high school it was always like, you got to beat the next guy out. And I went to college thinking I have to, beat somebody out to play. But other than that, like the guys up there are great. I love them. Immediately I felt like I fit right in. And then the coaching staff too, just like at Watertown, Coach Cal, Coach Ferrari, Coach Rocco, and Coach Berge. They're all awesome. They helped me a ton. The amount I've learned from the fall to like the few games in the spring,
Hmm.
it's ridiculous. The culture up there is awesome. I love it. It's a perfect fit.
Is that why you picked the Rams? Because it was basically Watertown except a different name and a different mascot.
It really was. I went up there for a visit my senior year in October. I visited a few schools. I visited with Salve Regina, Nichols. I was talking to UMass Boston a little bit, and then Coach Callahan had me come up, and immediately I knew that was the spot. It's funny enough, he probably remembers this. He called me up like a few days later just to check in, and we're on the phone. I'm like, Cal, I'm gonna be honest with you. I want to commit right now. I want to come up and just, let's get it. I want to do it. And he laughed at me and he said, just give me a week. I'll call you back in a week. He called me back in a week and it was the same thing. I was like, Coach Cal, I'm coming up. I'm not, nothing's changing. I'll come up and play. So ever since that, it's one of the best decisions I've ever made. I love it up there.
In your freshman year, even though it was shortened, I can only imagine what the numbers you would have put up if you played a full season because of the virus and games being shortened and first shortened and then canceled. I mean, you batted
Mm-hmm.
471, your on base was 526, your slugging was 706. And I know you only had four doubles and three RBIs, but in four games, if you project that for 20, 30 games, more depending on playoffs, I mean, you're talking about a freshman year that, one it could be in the record books as far as the Rams
Yeah.
are concerned.
Yeah. It was tough because we were just about to go to Florida for the Florida trip,
Hmm.
and then we found out that night that we were it was over. We were screwed. It wasn't going to happen. But it was disappointing. I had my senior year of high school, I had a tougher year at the plate, and then I got up to school, and then something clicked. Coach Cal and Coach Burge, they found something in my swing, and it just ever since then I felt great at the plate, and it was tough because I felt really good at the plate. I felt like I figured something out. But if it wasn't for them, who knows if I would have figured it out? They really did help me. Even my teammates just pushed me to keep working. But yeah, it was tough to find out the season was done. I felt good at the plate to start the year.
And you mentioned your swing. I mean, in some of the video that I've watched, it seems very fluid, but the one jumping point to me is that there's not much loft. In the day and age where everything is launch angle, trying to get underneath the baseball, you have that. And again, I think a lot of it is because being a left handed hitter, having that smooth swing, but you stuck to what, in my opinion, looks like a line drive gap to gap approach, not trying to sell out for power.
Yeah, ever since I was little, my dad taught me that, and like a lot of my coaches taught me that when I was young too, and
Hmm.
even even in high school with Coach Jerry and Coach Ross and Coach Graz. I was always a guy that even when I was younger, I put on a little weight and I put on a little power, but as a younger guy, I was a guy that just, you had to put a ball in the gap to get on two. You had to use your speed. But when I got up to school, we started working on it. I had to get a little bit more of an uppercut, not like, dropping your shoulder and flailing, just trying to hit home runs, but we had to change it a little bit. And, that I think is really what helped me. But, other than that, I've always been the guy trying to put the ball where it came from. It's on the outer half. I want to put it out there. So yeah, ever since I was little, that's how I've swung, and it's always worked for me.
What takeaways can you take from your freshman year? I know it was shortened, but even though you still went through the fall, the winter, you still were with the team, and just like how you mentioned how your body, you were working on that physically and mental aspect of the game, what takeaways can you take from that year going now into what will be your second season with the Rams?
There's a lot of that. There's some stuff I probably I can't even remember that I learned. I learned a lot about base running. That was the biggest thing I learned about,
Mm-hmm.
not making, awful outs on the base path. Counts, count leverage. Like you can't let a fastball get away from you on 2-0 and all that stuff. I've learned a lot about like positioning in the field. I played first base this year. I'm not really a first baseman, but I played first this year, so I've learned a lot. I'm excited. I can't wait until we go back to campus, hopefully in the fall, and then get ready for the spring. That's all I've been wanting to do, and I'm excited. But there's a lot that I've learned, and Coach Cal's done a great job up at Framingham. So I'm just excited.
I can't fault you for not wanting to go back and play because your last game before everything was canceled, it was against Emerson. You had 3 hits, a double, and 2 runs. And I know it sucks that you couldn't play the rest of the season, but in some ways, that has to give you a confidence boost that your last game, you ended on a high note instead of going 0 for 5 with 4 punchies. You know what I mean? So now it kind of gives you that extra boost. Not saying you wouldn't be motivated if you struck out 4 times the last game of the season, quote unquote, but being able to have that kind of showed, okay, I was so consistent, something worked for me. Let's continue on doing this during now what is a elongated off season.
Yeah, yeah. It let me know that like I belong there, and that even like I've always had a chip on my shoulder, and all it did was prove to me that like I did belong there, and that was it was good for me to know that. It really did help me having that confidence boost, like you said. It really did. I mean, I know I belong there. I'm excited. I hope I get to keep doing the same thing next year. I want to start hot again, so I'm excited.
Man, I wish you nothing but the best of luck your next season. Hopefully you guys can play and be able to kind of get things going. But, again, it's a shame that everybody's season was shortened, but hopefully we can move past this and be able to get back to some sort of normalcy again.
Yeah, hopefully.
But, man, you're welcome to come back on anytime you want.
Cool. Thank you. I loved it. It was awesome.
That'll wrap things up here in the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day, everybody.